Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Willow's Weather Briefing. Today is Thursday, June 26th, 2025. The intense heat wave across the east is starting to come to a close, where temperatures are slowly beginning to moderate. However, above average heat will continue for portions of the Ohio Valley and Mid-Atlantic until the weekend on the warm side of the stationary front. Along the front, however, rainy weather will bring flash flooding concerns throughout the plains and Midwest, as well as portions of the Mid-Atlantic. Severe weather is also a concern for areas around the upper Mississippi River Valley close to a surface low. We expect a severe weather sequence to begin tomorrow as various upper level disturbances make their way across the stationary fronts and incur low level responses, which will bring multiple frontal systems across the eastern U.S. until early next week. Above average temperatures for areas south of the stationary front in the Midwest and Mid Atlantic, as well as portions of the northern high plains. Below average for areas north of the stationary front and areas experiencing rainfall today, as well as the southeast. What you're seeing right now is a wispy tornado, or rather tornadoes, around La Crosse, Wisconsin yesterday, courtesy of Storm Chasing Video. So you can see very wispy tornadoes, very low bases, and here this whole thing is pretty much rotating, and it's bringing about multiple vortices underneath this lowering. Here is an article from the Albert Lee Tribune in Minnesota. A few tornadoes over there in southern Minnesota as well. Very beautiful, small cone tornadoes there. Here are our storm reports. We have those tornado reports. The storm chasing video tornadoes were here near La Crosse, Wisconsin, and the Albert Lee Tribune posted these tornadoes over here just north of Albert Lee, Minnesota. We also have multiple areas of damaging wind reports here in the east, a few microbursts over there associated with that enhanced risk for wind. Here is our drought monitor map. These solid lines demarcate the areas of greatest concern with drought. Pause the video if you want to take a closer look at that. And here is our current watches and warnings. We still have heat advisories for much of the eastern United States. That includes most of the Mississippi River Valley into the Ohio Valley and southeast, as well as the mid-Atlantic. We still have extreme heat warnings for areas near the Allegheny Plateau here in West Virginia. We also have flood watches still in effect here in the Midwest, as well as the Trans-Pecos region and southeastern New Mexico. Here's a look at our surface map. So we have the stationary front moved in over here across the Midwest into the eastern United States. On the north side, we have cooler than average temperatures. On the south side, we have warmer than average temperatures, and the constant movement of the warm air to the north is what's bringing our precipitation here today. Even over here in the eastern United States, we do have flash flooding concerns both here in the Midwestern United States and over here in the eastern United States today. As we move forward, the stationary front is going to wobble a little bit, and then various upper level disturbances will bring these surface responses, which will bring more of a frontal push into the moist, warm areas, which will bring us some severe weather threats over here in the upper Mississippi River Valley today. Moving forward, this low pressure system will move off to the east, bringing some more unsettled weather to areas such as the Midwest and eastern United States, also the Ohio River Valley. But then by the weekend into next week, we'll see another low pressure system form, and this is going to be to be a more powerful frontal system, which will push a cold front off to the east, bringing us cooler than average temperatures by early to midweek for much of the Midwest and eastern United States. Here is our excessive rainfall outlook. Big slight risk for portions of the Central Plains all the way up to the Great Lakes region. We do expect 3 to 5 inches throughout the slight risk area, especially over here in eastern Kansas and the vicinity around Kansas City, where we do expect that higher regime of rainfall, perhaps 5 inches or greater localized amounts for this area. We also have a slight risk over here in the mid-Atlantic up towards the northeast. Pockets of up to 2 inch per hour rainfall rates is possible over in this region. We also have a marginal risk of excessive rainfall broadly throughout the eastern United States, associated with some tropical moisture moving into this region of the southeast, and also monsoonal moisture here in New Mexico. Day 2 outlook, we have a small slight risk for portions of the northeast, broad marginal risk associated with that stationary front. Here, still lingering monsoonal and tropical moisture for southern regimes, and as well as some lingering moisture bringing out some convection up here in the northern plains. Day 3, marginal risks for these portions right here. And day 4, broad marginal risk associated with that frontal regime starting to move through the central U.S. And then by day 5, that will migrate off to the eastern U.S., stall a little bit as it encounters some higher pressure to the south. Here is our fire weather outlook. Only elevated fire risk for day 2 tomorrow. Elevated fire weather risk for portions of southern Wyoming. And here is our convective outlook. Slight risk encompassing portions of the upper Mississippi River Valley. This includes cities like Madison, Wisconsin, Rochester, Minnesota, Waterloo, Iowa, Eau Claire, Wisconsin. This is primarily for a damaging wind and a few tornadoes associated with this risk, mainly for a remnant low pressure system that is going to move through the area, bring about some forcing of the highly unstable air mass in this regime right here. Tornado threat is elevated because it's pretty close to the surface low. Surface wind fields are pretty conducive for a few tornadoes in this region. Pretty similar to the region that we saw yesterday with those tornadoes, but perhaps a little bit stunted to the south. Day 2 outlook, we do expect some significant severe weather here in the northern plains, primarily for a large to giant hail threat. This includes cities like Bismarck, North Dakota, Aberdeen, South Dakota, Mandan, North Dakota, Jamestown, North Dakota, primarily for large to giant hail. Damaging winds and also a few tornadoes is possible in this regime associated with a few isolated supercells. Day 3 outlook, slight risk for portions of the northern plains into the upper Midwest. This includes cities like Minneapolis, St. Paul, Sioux Falls, Sioux City. Primary hazards look to be damaging winds and large hail for this outlook. So, looking at our excessive heat, definitely depleting in heat over here in the northeast, but still some portions remain far above average. This includes cities in the mid-Atlantic as well as the Ohio River Valley. Still temperatures in the mid to upper 90s over here in the mid-Atlantic and into the mid-90s here in the Ohio River Valley. This is actually today more widespread heat across the Midwest and Mid-Atlantic, but tomorrow and onwards we see the depletion of the heat just a bit throughout the Midwest and eastern United States. But we will start to see still around average or above average temperatures throughout the eastern U.S., but by midweek we do see some heat occurring over here in the western United States as a ridge builds a little bit over here in this region. And by midweek next week, we do expect temperatures to moderate throughout the United States. Here's our day 3 to 7 hazards outlook. We do have some hazardous heat outlooks for the Midwest and Ohio Valley into the Mid-Atlantic regions, as well as over here in the northwestern United States, as well as some heavy rain concerns associated with the stationary front up here in the northeast, and as well as tropical moisture down here in the Gulf Coast. Here's our 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, July 1st through 5th, finally coming into July here soon. Above average temperatures for much of the northwest and also the southeastern regions up the east coast. Below average temperatures for the southwest associated with some monsoonal rainfall. Here's our 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook. Monsoonal rainfall expected over here in the desert southwest, while mostly expecting near normal to leaning above precipitation for most of the U.S. And finally, looking at our HREF output here, Let's look at the timing of our storms today. Again, depletion of storms thanks to the lingering low level jet sort of weakening a bit. But as we get to the afternoons, as we get that daytime heating, we will get a reinvigoration of convection along this cold front associated with this low pressure system moving across the upper Midwest that will uh, allow some severe thunderstorms to come to fruition over here in the upper Mississippi River Valley. Around 21Z, which is around 4 p.m. in these regions over here, and that will continue off. Most likely, it'll be maybe 1 or 2 rounds of thunderstorms, and it will be done. Overnight, this convection will deplete as it moves off towards the Great Lakes region. Otherwise, we do have some rainfall expected across the mid Atlantic regions over here, possibly some pockets of localized 2 inches plus rainfall rates per hour over in this region. But that is going to be it for today. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more videos in the future. And as always, if you want any additional information regarding your area, please refer to your local National Weather Service or broadcast meteorologists. Thank you and have a great day.